All right, so I'm out. I'm busy right now, but a couple things I did want to talk about real quick. I was obviously wrong with my prediction the other day, which is very rare, and it's funny because I was just having a conversation with my wife, and I was saying I don't bet very often, and when I do, it's not large amounts of money. But I was thinking the other day about how I do these prediction videos, and it's very, very, very rare that I ever get one of these predictions wrong. And I thought to myself, betting $10 or $20 on a favorite, it might only give you $5 or $10 back, right? But if I nail 10 or 15 of those bets a year, I'm gonna be up, as opposed to when I bet on underdogs, I only got to hit, let's say, 1 out of 4 of those, and I even out, right? But the odds of hitting the underdog are obviously not good. I make these videos picking one guy, and then I turn around and I bet on the other guy. And it's like, if I would just bet on the guy that I said was going to win every time, I would probably be up a lot of money. And then, the first fight after that, I pick beterbiev to win. I didn't bet on it. I was debating it. I didn't bet on it because I thought that was just such a pick'em fight that I really didn't even want to put my money on it. But I just think it's funny that as soon as I thought that, I wind up making a prediction, in my very first prediction that I make when I say that I got wrong. But let me say this, man. Again, very impressed by both guys. Amazing high-level boxing. Actually, this second fight, this rematch, was a more entertaining, fan-friendly fight than the first fight was. But both great fights if you understand boxing and you love the sport and shit like that. Two very high-level athletes. I was extremely, extremely impressed with a lot of things that Bivol did. And it's funny because I said that I didn't really understand how Bivol could be much better than he was in the first fight. And it's crazy because this fight was very competitive and both guys were very good for sure. But on the scorecards, it really wasn't that close. The fact that one judge had it a draw was absolutely fucking wild. I think 8-4 for Bivol is probably the closest you could have really called that fight. But yeah, I didn't want to get on here and talk about that one for too long, but I did just want to say, I was wrong on that one, and Bivol, did make the proper adjustments and was even better in the second fight than he was in the first fight, which is tremendous because they were, both tremendous in both of those fights. So, yeah, I'll be looking forward to a third one. And I just wanted to quickly talk about the Tank and Roach fight this weekend, which, listen, when this fight was announced, I wasn't really too excited about it. This is kind of like been a theme of Tank's career at this point. And you know what? I understand boxing, bro. I have friends that box. I've been watching the sport for a long time, so I know how boxing works. And I'm not this guy that's overly critical of fighters in their 20s and, who they're fighting and things like that. And, this guy's cherry picking or he's padding his record. The guy hasn't even hit his prime yet. He's still learning. He's still trying to see different styles and, whatever. It gets to a point, bro, where when you're a pound-for-pound fighter and, you've been beating guys, you're undefeated, multiple weight classes, things like that, I just think nowadays, with the amount of belts that we have and, the depth in these weight classes of talent and the cost of these fights nowadays and, all the things that are going on, I just feel like in order to really cement yourself as an all-time great, it's not good enough anymore to just dominate your weight class and defend your title and shit like that. You got to win more than one title at once. You got to win titles in more than one weight class. And, you really have to take on challenges that people feel, he might have a tough time with this one. And I don't really feel like Tank is really doing that. I felt like, yes, there was some asterisks in some of his wins. Leo Santa Cruz was moving up a weight. You could say a couple of things about a couple of these fights where it's like, okay, maybe the caliber of the opponent has stepped up a little bit, but there's some sort of stipulation in this contract of this fight that kind of gives Tank an unfair advantage where, we felt like the rehydration clause and the weight that he fought Garcia at maybe kind of drained the shit out of Garcia and didn't give him much of a chance in that fight. Just little things like that. So I feel like when we start to step up, when we start, it's like, all right, better fighter, but, right? And that kind of goes on. There comes a point now, and this is the point now, where that has to stop now, bro. There has to come a point where you have to try to challenge these other belt holders. You have to, become unified, go for undisputed, go for whatever it is, other pound-for-pound fighters and things like that. So I felt like these last two fights with Tank have kind of been like, all right, you're fighting good guys, but you're no longer going in the same direction. You have not stepped up your level of competition from your last couple of fights. If anything, I would say it's either staying the same or trending in the wrong direction. And at this point in his career, I don't really think that's what anybody's looking for. So, I defended Tank a lot, but I think a lot of the criticisms are kind of warranted at this point. But I'll say this, man. Listen, to me, Tank is a pound-for-pound fighter. Tank is an elite fighter. Tank is a special fighter. He's a complete fighter. So I'm going to keep it real short and simple with this one, man. I just, quite frankly, I don't really see anybody beating Tank unless it's a matter of circumstance. And what I mean by that is, to me, the only way that Tank is really going to lose a fight is if Tank either just didn't show up that night, didn't train properly, was mentally checked out, or maybe he's old at this point or whatever the case is. That could be one scenario. Maybe he moves up to a weight class where he really doesn't belong and, his punches are just not having the same effect on the other guy. And you realize before the fight even ends, like, all right, this was a mistake. He doesn't belong at this weight class. Not going to win this fight. Things like that. I just think it has to be some sort of specific scenario for Tank to lose a fight. I don't think Tank is just going to get in there at this point in time with a guy like Roach and just lose this fight to this guy. I could be wrong. Who the fuck knows? For all I know, this could be the fight where Tank isn't focused and he didn't prepare correctly and he doesn't show up on fight night. It's boxing. Anything could happen. And like I said, when this fight was announced, I really didn't have much interest in it. That being said, it's fight week. The fight's in a couple of days. Tank is my youngest daughter's favorite fighter. I love boxing, so for me to sit here and pretend like I'm not going to watch the fight is fucking stupid. So it's like, if I'm going to watch the fight, I may as well invest in it a little bit. I haven't really watched too much on this fight. Couple of interviews, things like that. But, yeah, man, like I said, I just, I don't think that this guy Lamont Roach is the dude to do it. His record is not that impressive. I believe he's moving up a weight class to fight Tank. Like I said, it's got to be, in my opinion, it's got to be a matter of circumstance in order for Tank to lose a fight at this point in his career. And I just don't think this is it. I just don't think Roach is that guy. And, in watching Roach's sparring clips and stuff like that, and I could be wrong, man, you never know how things are going to play out. But to me, the strategy that it looks like he's trying to employ, I just don't really think that's the way to go at Tank. I don't think that's the way to fight Tank. I don't think that's the way to beat Tank. And I don't know much on this guy. I'm not going to lie. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm very well, versed in studying this guy Roach, and I know exactly what mistakes he makes and things like that. I don't really know much about this guy. But like I said, man, this pick that I'm making here is more about Tank and less about Roach. So I think Tank will probably stop him, man. I'll pick Tank to stop him late. I'll say Tank stops him in like 9 or 10. Peace.